Hello and welcome to attaQ. My name is Jakob. I'm your host, and you're watching a attaQ episode. Now, this is not going to be one of those normal this synth versus that kind of comparison, nor is this going to be like a technical manual or even a tutorial about these synthesizers. No, this is going to be me telling you about why I love these two synthesizers and why I still use them after 6 years. So let me begin by introducing them to you. Here we have Waldorf Nave. It was released the 13th of June 2014. It is a wavetable synthesizer and it has a modular routing matrix. There's so much you can do with this synth. It's incredibly powerful and it has a very unique sound to it. Now, I had the pleasure of meeting Rolf Wörmann over at the Thomann Synth Reactor event 2019 in Treppendorf, Germany, where I had a long talk with him about Nave and how much I love Nave. Now, I do regret not recording our conversation, or at least, putting him up for an interview when I had him right there. But, just meeting the guy after using his product so much and his previous products, I was actually a bit starstruck. The guy is just amazing. He's an excellent developer. Now, I'm going to talk more about what it is I like about the Nave sound engine so much and how it works and everything. But first, I want to introduce you to the second synth that I'm going to talk about, and it is Propellerhead's Thor. Now, this one has an interesting history because it didn't start out as an iOS synth. It actually started out as a desktop synth as part of Propellerhead's Reason. It was made by Mats Karlöf, and then later on it was ported over from Reason to iOS as an app by Kalle Paulsson and a team, if I remember correctly. Okay, so Propellerhead Thor is a modular synthesizer, and it also has a routing matrix, but more about the routing matrix later on. What I want to touch upon here is the way that Thor can pretty much produce almost any type of timbre when it comes to its synthesis engine, because you can pretty much switch out all of the oscillator modules in this thing. Looking for an analog type oscillator? Well, it's got a module for that. Want to get some FM synthesis sounds out of it? Well, it's got an FM pair module for that. This thing even has a souped up noise module that can produce a wide range of different types of noise. 6 different sound generating modules is what you have to choose from. So you can imagine the range of types of sounds that you can create with a synth like this. And on top of that, if we move over to the filter section, it gets even more interesting because here you're not locked to one type of filter. You can of course find the normal low pass ladder filter, but you also have a state variable filter, you have a comb filter, and you even have a formant filter, which makes it possible for you to create patches where you get the synth to talk or sound as if it's talking. And when we're on the topic of talking synths, with Waldorf Nave it gets even easier to make it talk because of its wavetable synthesis. You see, Nave has this possibility of actually importing audio files, analyzing them, and making waveforms out of them. Now, making Thor talk, on the other hand, takes a bit more work, or a lot more work, which you can see if you check this old video. This is one of my first haQ videos. It's actually the second haQ episode I ever made. And in it, I'm breaking down the famous I am Thor patch, in where the synth actually says I am Thor when you play it. I am Thor. I am Thor. I am Thor. I am Thor. I don't know what to say. I'm impressed by the skill of the patch author and also the commitment that this person had to make in order to create this patch. Now, you've already heard Nave talk too, and that's very much thanks to its wave analyzing abilities when you actually send your own recorded voice into it. But Nave even has something more that can make it talk. It has a text-to-speech synthesis engine. Okay, so when it comes to synthesized vocals, I'm a complete sucker. And disregarding from how hard or how easy it is to get these synthesizers to talk, they can both do that. They can both produce sounds that sound like synthesized vocals. And so it's one of the things I do like with them. Now, it's not as if I'm choosing to work with these synthesizers just because of that. I mean, there's so much more about them, like how their sound engines are so modular. And now you might say, wait a minute, I can see how Thor can be very modular because you can switch out all of the oscillators and the sound generators, but Nave is always going to be a wavetable synthesizer. Yeah, but that's the thing. Since Nave has this ability to use external audio to make wavetables out of, and since you can send in your own wavetables, then you can have Nave produce any type of timbre you would want it to produce, depending on what you feed it. And so in that sense, it just feels, for me at least, as if I'm working with a modular sound engine. So while we're on the topic of their modularity or their modularness, now both Waldorf Nave and Propellerhead Thor have these kind of menu or list type routing matrices, and I do appreciate that a lot. When doing sound design and making patches and presets, it's very nice to have a menu where I can see all of the available modulation sources and destinations. It's kind of like working from an Excel spreadsheet, which might sound extremely boring, but to me, this is order. And after doing patch designs and sound designs for so many years, decades, I've just discovered that this is the way I like it the best when I make presets. And I do make a lot of them. And I have even shared some of those presets with you here on my channel. I'm especially proud of the 64 preset pack I made for Nave and also the Bell preset pack that I made for Thor. So some of you might be wondering, which one should you get? In my opinion, both. But if you don't want to do that, then there are good ways of actually deciding which one you should get. Now, you do get a lot with both synthesizers, but you should know this. Both of these synthesizers have their own very unique, distinctive overall sound. They sound nothing alike. The first thing you should do is to listen to both of them and find as many sound examples of both synthesizers as you can to actually hear what they sound like. Decide with your ears first. Now, if you end up realizing that you like one over the other, then the choice is simple, right? But if you end up deciding that, hey, I like both of them, I still don't know which one I should get, then you start looking at functionalities or features. Over the years, I've received a lot of comments on my channel, and one thing I see a lot is people having a need for an arpeggiator or a sequencer in their synthesizer. So, well, when it comes to an arpeggiator, Nave do have that. The arpeggiator is intelligent and can do more stuff. But then again, Nave doesn't have a sequencer, but Thor does have that, and you kind of need that in order to create patches like the I Am Thor one. No, it's not like you kinda need it, you really need it. Now, for other people, it's very important that a synthesizer has a lot of effects. And when it comes to that stage, well, Nave kills it with its arsenal of effects. It has a whole page full of it. So it's got a modulation effects where you can switch between a phaser, flanger, and a chorus. It has a delay, it has a reverb with a filtering function, it has an equalizer, and then it has something that adds to that special, well, it kind of gives Nave its distinctive sound when you turn it on, and it is the compressor in here. So if you're looking for loudness, the Nave is your poison. Now, if you have a look at the modulation page in both of these synthesizers, you can see that Nave has a very straightforward one. It's got that source and then destination kind of layout with a amount setting in between. However, if we look at Thor's modulation matrix, you have way more options of how you can route your signals. And this can be a big thing for some people choosing a synthesizer. I mean, look at this. Here you have the regular one, where you got your source and your destination. But then you also have a row named scale, which you can use for some very interesting things. I've used it to quite accurately control the wobble rate of a filter with the keyboard. You also have one where you can have one source, two destinations, and a scale, and then one with a source, destination, and two scales. So that alone can be interesting enough for someone to go for Propellerhead Thor instead of Nave. Okay, look, I could carry on just comparing stuff. I could mention how the keyboards are different. But I'm not gonna. So which one should you get? I don't know. If you can afford both of them and don't mind that, then add a few more synths to your already growing library of iOS synths. If you can only afford one right now, then get one now. If you think you want the other one still after you've used one of them that you get now, then get the other one later on. You don't have to get them both right now. Hey, Jakob, you're making no sense. Stop. Both Waldorf Nave and Propellerhead Thor get the haQ seal of approval. They've been in testing inside my studio for 6 years and I'm still using them. I still have them on my front page ready to go at any time, and I'll probably continue using them for at least another 6 years. They're just that good. You'll of course find the links to everything I've talked about down in the description, including the video links and everything else. So check down there, because I don't answer any questions about what the names are on apps or stuff like that. They're always right there in the description. Just check it out and you'll find the links to wherever you need to go or whatever product I might be using. So I do hope you learned something, and if you didn't, at least I hope you were entertained. If you want to help this channel out, if you liked what you saw, if you want to see more of it, hit that like button because it helps this channel a lot. So yeah, do that. If you want to help in a more financial way, then I do suggest you use Patreon first. And if you don't want to do that, I've got PayPal, but you can also check out my music. You'll find it if you go to jakobhaq.com/music. As usual, I wish you a very productive week. Now go finger all of your stuff and have a lot of fun doing it.